In this video, we take a dive into our 21 personnel from the run and gun playbook. The reason that we take a look at this personnel grouping is because the way we run strong close, we'll run it with a fullback to really get the most out of the run game. And then if you were to audible from strong close, you wouldn't be able to get to the ace personnel if you have the fullback. I'm going to tie everything in with a video at the very end to kind of show you guys how the offense flows throughout a game. But for now, just take my word for it. This is how, this is the formation that you want to audible into when you are running strong close with two running backs with that 21 personnel. Now, I will note that if you were to audible from strong close, this far left receiver is going to be your route runner receiver if you set the formation up the way I set it up. This will also be your slot apprentice if you're not using a hot route master. Here's your deep threat on the inside. The audibles I use for this formation. Well, I don't typically come out and run this formation as a formation. Like I said, I audible into it. So my X audible is actually going to be the stretch alert smoke. I leave the HB blast for an inside run. My flanker dig play is typically going to be PA cross in, but if you wanted to actually run like hitch corners or perhaps maybe flanker curl or even the flanker dig, totally up to you. I prefer PA cross in, and I run it a specific way that I will break down for you in a different video. This video is going to be focused on the stretch run. Now, you want to audible into this run when you are getting a guy that plays man coverage and he's not baselining, which nobody really baselines when they play man coverage. If they're not baselining, they're in zone coverage. That's a little weird. It'll happen from time to time. But if they're in man coverage and they're not baselining, you audible into this, their corner flips over to the other side, and now that right side's pretty tender. We have a nice stretch. Stretch is pretty easy. I don't really want to belabor the point on stretch. Now, the one thing I do want you guys to realize is that when you run this play, you can also motion this receiver over, just like we did in the single back ace slot. But if you're audibling from strong close and then you're motioning a guy over, it's a lot of movement before the snap, and you need to make sure you have enough time on the clock to do it. That's just why I typically don't do it, because I like to take a look at how my opponent sets up his defense first, and then I'll audible into something else if I feel like it's appropriate. But just keep in mind you can do that. You cannot motion this guy over. Okay, he is on the smoke screen. And I'm actually probably just going to put the dive into this video as well. It's actually the HB blast. You can flip that to either side if you want to. It's most effective when you decide you're going to ID one of the free runners. That way the fullback or the guard will target him. Just keep in mind, if there's inside stuff on the field, you do have to double team because this is inside run. But this is not rocket science whatsoever. Just one sprint, find the gaps, get as much yardage as you can. It's a dive at the end of the day. It's not supposed to be a big run. All right. That's going to be it for the runs. I'm not going to belabor the point on that. I will explain more in depth some of the passing concepts that we use. But for right now, that's going to be the end of this video.